What is the best iPad app for sketchnoting? I've been asked this question and asked myself this question many times in the past. And the truth is, it depends a lot on you, what your needs are, where you are in your sketchnoting journey, and that will determine which app you should use. So, for example, if you're a beginner who's just trying to start out and this is a hobby that you're interested in picking up, you're probably going to need a more simplified app. Then if you are a pro who's getting paid, well, you're going to need some more advanced features, including exporting features so that you can publish these, get paid, make sure that they're in the right format for print and stuff like this. With that in mind, I'm going to share 3 of my favorite iPad apps for sketchnoting that start at ones which are great for beginners and go through to ones which are great for more advanced users who need these expert pro features. And I'll have a bonus app at the end, which I also really like, but I don't personally use for sketchnoting, but I know many people who do use it for sketchnoting. So let's dive in. The first app that I'm going to show you is Paper by 53. Now, I've had this app around for a very long time. It's been around for a long time, and it even came out before the first Apple Pencil for the iPad came out. And the advantage of this one is that it has very simple set of tools, very simple color palette, and it makes it very easy to get started. Plus, one of the great features of this app is its pen feature. And this gives you pressure sensitivity, so you can have thick and thin lines, which gives you a kind of handwriting style in a pen. And this has been around, this is possible to do even without a pencil, so I can set up so that my finger will draw. So even if I don't have a stylus, I can do it with my finger and I can draw a little picture, maybe of me. And in fact, this is how I first started using Paper, because back in the day, there was no Apple Pencil and this was the only option. But even if you're using the Apple Pencil, I like to have nothing on so that I don't accidentally trigger it. Using that tool gives you allows you to do stuff like have shadows. The paint tool is very nice for adding some shading. There's a fill tool which will fill in a certain section, and then you can erase out what you want. If you tap things multiple times, you get size settings, but you can just keep things as they are. And there are even tools for cutting and pasting. You can move it around, or you can add it to a clipboard. This is created by my daughter. You have a blending tool to blend colors. And you have a color palette where you can adjust the colors that you have there, plus there are many other ones. Now, unfortunately for me, my color sets and things have been affected a lot by my daughter's use of this app. But that's one of the great things about this app. It's so simple that anyone can use it, anyone can get started. It is more limited in its sharing options. Once you're finished, you can share and save an image. But you can see some of the sketch notes I've made in the past using this. So it has a lot of power and options even just in this app. So this is really a great choice if you are just getting started with sketchnoting and need something simple. Now, the next app is probably my personal favorite app. It's the app that I use a lot, and it's probably one of the most recommended apps for sketchnoting. That is, of course, Procreate. Now, Procreate has a lot of features that you don't get in Paper, such as layers. And layers gives you some real superpowers. Let's just start a new one. We'll create a new artwork here. But for example, by having layers, I can put something beneath something else. And then when I draw, that line stays on top. The other big feature that it has is a whole load of pens and brushes in different styles. I've got a bleeding art marker here, which gives it a very different look than something like this. Smudge tool, let's try. I've got some chalk pens here. And that's quite small, maybe make it bigger. Whoops, too big. And that gives you a real variety in what you can do with this app by trying out different tools. In fact, this really is a pro application with many different features, such as tools for blurring, tools for changing layers. Then you can change the blend effect of a layer. So instead of it being a normal blend, you can have it darken, linear burn, off overlays, subtraction, extraction. You can change how the opacity of each layer as well. You have tools for erasing, which are based on every single brush as well, and blurring based on every single brush. You can affect the size of the brush here. You can affect the opacity of the brush. Lots of options. And then when it comes to exporting, you can change the style of exporting to from lossless files to a Procreate file or Photoshop file if you need to edit in Photoshop, PDFs and so on like that. You even have animated videos that you can make based on each layer. And you can export a time-lapse video, which is a great feature too. Plus, a final thing worth noting is you can change the canvas size. And when you start and create a canvas, you can use it in different sizes. So this gives you real flexibility, more flexibility than you have with paper. Downside of this app is it can feel very overwhelming to some people. All these options, all these settings, it can make it very hard to just get started and going. And when you come to make your sketchnote, some people find it very overwhelming. Which brush should I use? So that's why I have created a simplified sketchnoting set of brushes with different sizes and things like this to help me create sketchnotes very quickly. You can also buy premium brush sets if you want to, or get many for free. So before we look at the final application that I'm going to share, I'd love to know if you're a Procreate user, why do you use it? And also share in the comments if there are any custom brushes that you've got. I will share a link to my custom brush set, my sketchnoting brush set, so you can download that and use it as well. Now on to the final application. The final app we're going to look at is Concepts. And Concepts is very similar to Procreate in some of the pro features that it has. We have layers that we can select and we can add more. So we can have one layer underneath, one layer on top. We have a lot of different brushes that we can select from, including markers, watercolors, airbrush, and there is a brush marketplace where we can buy more brushes as well. Plus we have a really strong wide color wheel, lots of different styles. We can select palettes as well that we can use for it as well, which is great. We can add palettes, which is useful when sketchnoting live. For a conference or something, we can set up exactly the right color palette for a company that we're going to use there. But it has one key distinguishing feature which separates it completely from the other apps that we've looked at, and that is that it is vector based. And vector based means that we can create a layer. So let's do maybe our little Sketchnote coffee cup that we have here. We can then select it and we can resize it freely based on the size, based on the layer, and it won't affect the image quality, unlike pixel based, because this is based on mathematics, on basically, rather than on the pixels that we have on the page, and so the line is always drawn according to a mathematical rule. We can also do things like change the brush that we're using, and it will affect the style. So let's change it to a soft pencil. And now you can see that the style has completely changed. It's now a soft pencil look rather than the hard line that it was before. We could go to a marker. Let's try that. And we'll see that it's changed the style again. A final significance of this is that it gives us more options when we're exporting. We can export to vector-based images, which is useful if we're going to publish these if we're going to do a graphic design, if we're going to do a t-shirt or something like this, a logo that many people want as a vector, which is not something that we normally have on offer from Procreate unless we take it into Photoshop and edit it there. The final app that we're going to look at is one that I don't use for sketchnoting, but is quite popular, and some other people I know use it. That's GoodNotes, and this is version 6 of GoodNotes. Now, as you can see, Most of my things here are PDF workbooks that I have, as well as a copy of the Bible there, and also some free-form notes where I just jot down vague ideas. But you can use this for Sketchnotes, especially as the kind of workbook format works very well. It's like paper notebooks. You can create a notebook for a specific function, keep certain sketch notes together in that one, as well as import PDFs and mark them up, and that's good use. You can also highlight, you can favorite notebooks that can help you find them later. You can search for your notebooks, you can share notebooks with people, and there's also now a marketplace where you can get things like planner templates for the year. So this is a great way if you want to get organized. You can use a digital planner, which is great if you don't like these analog ones, you're worried about ruining them. But let's look at Sketchnotes for the moment and the features that make this a great app for Sketchnotes. So go create a new notebook, and it gives me various options. So I can change the cover for different styles of covers. There's lots here, and there's popular on marketplace ones. Let's focus on the notebook. There are different types of paper. So I've got dotted paper selected. I can change the background color to make it white or black. There's notes like Cornell note style I could choose. There are planner templates. I can import more. And of course, there's the marketplace where I can buy some more template styles. But for this one, I can also change the layout to be landscape. And in fact, that's what I'm going to do this time. I'm going to stick with landscape, good Nate standard, US English spelling, that's important. And I'm going to call this one Sketchnote Test. And create. So now I have my Sketchnote Test notebook, and you can see my options here at the top, the different tools. So we have a pen tool, and we can change the thickness and choose the color. Now, if I tap on the color, I get up a color chart where I can choose different ones. I can even adjust each color as well. I can make it a custom color, have history as well. And these are the general presets, which are quite useful. If I tap on the pen again, I can bring up different options. So it's by default fountain, which gives you some weight, some variation in size based on how much you move and touch it. Ball pen, which gives you no variation, it keeps it a straight line. And brush pen, which is very variable in length and width. Plus there are actions for, I can pick how it will draw, pen gestures that I can do, and writing aids such as recognize the language and check spelling. We'll come and look at this in an example later, but it's a real big feature which I think is great for personal sketch notes. Eraser, this is an erasing tool, you can pick the size, and this will give you a bit where it goes for the stroke rather than just what you've written down. So if I do a big stroke like this, and erase, actually erases even more than I touch. So it kind of automatically detects and predicts there. Highlighter tools, which are useful to make things stand out. Shape tool, which automatically makes shapes appear more consistent. A lasso tool, so if you write something, you can move it, change its position, and you can select what elements are affected by your lasso. Let's get rid of you. Then we have a sticker tool. This allows you to put in various elements, various stickers for presets. It's useful with the planner templates as you can put down various elements, but also you can add your own elements. So you can import your own photos or import from other areas. So this could be really great for sketchnoting, so that you create certain icons that you'll reuse a lot, and then you can just put them down very quickly, move them around, position them, change their size. Likewise, you can import photos, but you have to give access to your photo library. You can add text, so you can just type some text in and add that in using various fonts and things like this. You can go detailed. So this is a useful tool if you want to get a very detailed part. You can write down here, write down here, and then it appears there, and you can have more fine control over what you're doing. which is really useful if you're going into details. And of course, you can move this around to pay attention to different elements. And finally, a tool for presenting. Plus also we can just type as a document, or we can record audio. Let's not allow access right now. Now let's look at a key feature that separates GoodNotes 5, and this is the way that the spell detection feature. And so let's say you're writing in your Sketchnote and you make a spelling mistake. So writing and make a spelling mistake. Oh no, it's terrible. What am I good? Oh, wait a second. I just tap on it because it's realized it and click spelling, and look at that. It's corrected it, and it still has a handwriting style. Now it's not perfect. It's not exactly my handwriting. In fact, it's probably a little better than my handwriting, but there you go. That's a really useful feature that can help you speed up your Sketchnotes and avoid mistakes. Now, doesn't have layers unlike some of the more professional apps, and it does have a more limited set of tools, but I think that's also part of its strength. This makes it a great option if you're just getting started out, if you're taking personal notes, personal sketch notes. That's why I like it as a free form note tool, because it's so easy to just create a new page and then just start jotting down ideas. So maybe this would be a good app for you to consider. So which one should you choose? Well, if you're just starting out, I'd recommend checking out Goodreads. It's got some great tools, especially the new AI tools. The brushes are great. The planner templates can be very useful as well, but you could check out Paper. If you need something more advanced for sharing with other people, it just depends if you want SVG files or if that's not so important for you. If you need SVG files, check out Concepts. Otherwise, Procreate is probably the one for you. And if you want to learn how to sketchnote, then head over to sketchyideas.co and you can check out some of my tutorials and free courses to get you started.